All right, it's time to get started on the class project. So back in After Effects, we're gonna go ahead and save our file. If you haven't done that already, you can do that by going to File, Save, or Command S, Control S, the normal stuff. We're gonna navigate to where you want to save it. I'm just gonna plop this on my desktop. I'm gonna call it my first animation and hit Enter or Save. Now, it's very important to always save your files because After Effects can crash, and it will crash. And you don't want to lose a lot of work, so make sure you're always hitting Control S, Command S to save things. All right, remember how I told you that you can make multiple compositions? Well, here, we're gonna go ahead and create another composition by clicking this button, and we're gonna call it Logo Reveal. We're gonna use the same settings as before, 1080 by 1080, 24 frames per second, and 10 seconds long, and hit OK. So now you should see both my first animation and logo reveal in your project. And I also have this old project folder right here, which you shouldn't have in yours. Don't worry if yours looks different. Mine just has my example project that I did earlier. So now we have logo reveal in my first animation. We're gonna go ahead and double click, make sure logo reveal is selected down here. We can toggle back and forth between these, and we want ours to be this blank new composition. The first thing we're gonna do is create a background layer like before. I'm gonna show you a quicker way to do it by going to New, Shape Layer. And once you have this selected, you can go up to the rectangle tool and double click on the rectangle. And that will create a shape that fills the whole background. And you're probably like, why didn't you show me that earlier? It's because I wanted you to learn. So get over it. We're gonna rename this layer to background by hitting enter, hit enter to confirm that, and we have our background. The next step, we're gonna add our circle, our ball, our hero shape. And if you look at our finished example here, we have a circle in the middle, it flies over, it turns into a square, and then it reveals our logo. All right, let's go ahead and create our circle by right-clicking, New Shape Layer, just like before. We're gonna name this layer Hero Shape, hit enter, and then we're gonna go up here, we're gonna create a rectangle. Now, why would you create a rectangle to make a circle? Well, I'm gonna show you by adjusting the rectangle settings. So if we twirl down here into the contents rectangle path, we see the size. We're gonna go ahead and drag this down, and let's type in maybe 200. And since these are linked, it will automatically set both. And we're gonna change our fill to a kind of a light blue color like this. Now you might be saying, that is the worst circle I've ever seen. It is a bad circle, but that's because we have not yet adjusted the roundness. So if we drag this roundness up, we will get a circle. It rounds those corners out, and we have a rectangle that is actually a circle. The reason we're doing that is because later on we're going to transform this circle into a rectangle again. And if we do it this way with that roundness setting, it's easy to animate between those shapes. We have our shape, we have our background. Let's start to animate. So here I'm going to teach you a couple keyboard shortcuts, which are important to learn as you go. Don't worry, if you keep working, they will become muscle memory eventually. We're going to hit S, and that stands for scale. So what we want this to do, if you look at the beginning example, it scales up from 0. Our circle becomes a big circle. So we're gonna go here, and we want this to scale in probably over 12 frames. So we'll go in here to about the 12. We're gonna click the stopwatch to set a keyframe, as you remember, and we'll scroll back here, and we're gonna change this 100 to 0. So now if we hit spacebar to play, oh yeah, we got an animation. So our circle now scales up from 0 to 100%. And another thing I'm gonna show you is you can drag this bar, is called the work area. You can drag this in so your preview will play only during that time. So it keeps it from playing through the full 10 seconds. You can kind of set this little work area and adjust that as you go. Okay, so now that our shape is scaling, we're going to animate the position. Let's start animating the position by clicking the stopwatch on the position property And we're gonna go ahead to maybe here, and we're going to hold shift and drag our layer over to the side. So that'll create another keyframe, and now we can drag between. We can see we scale up, we slide over, and let's go forward about another second, and we can drag our ball over to the other side of the frame. So that shows you can move things around up here, or you can move them around with these numbers down here. So now we have 3 keyframes. If you hit U and U again, you can see all of your keyframes that are currently set, and we have an animation where a ball scales up and moves from left to right. Why does this look so stiff and disgusting and ugly? That's because we have not done any easing. What is easing? Easing is how you smooth the motion in an animation. And it's also the difference between poo-poo garbage beginner animation that looks like this and very polished, beautiful, smooth animation that looks like this. And how do you do that? Click on the next video and I'll show you.